Hi everyone. I want to show you an example of how I use Anubis and why I built it in first place. Like a couple of months ago, when I first looked at RooCode and started to use it, basically the idea of having an AI-powered dev team really got me hooked, and I started my own RooCode Orchestrator workflow. So it's based on agile methodology, trunk-based development, and how do you contribute with other developers, and if you face the problem like so basically, I have been building this for about like 3 months or something. This is like an old system or abandoned system now because I moved to the Anubis MCP server, and I will tell you why. But basically, both of them is highly or heavily inspired by RooCode. The whole thing was built for RooCode initially. Please, the workflow itself and the sequence of rules is still the same in both projects. So here is a chart to show what we have so far. Once a user try to start a task, it goes to the Boomerang mode, which analyze the task and have a look at the memory bank file and start to perform an opinion if it should ask a researcher to do some information gathering about the issue, or it's already covered in the source code based on the memory bank analysis and the instruction we give it to follow. After that, it gives it to the architect, which makes the implementation plan based on the information both the Boomerang and the researcher have provided to it, and also create like subtasks to make it easy. Because I found that mostly when you work with AI agent, if they start immediately with code, this is very bad. But if you give them like a blueprint or a subtask, or let's say a whole implementation plan to start with, this makes perfect sense with them, and they start to follow it directly, and also give you a way to see what they will implement before they do so. So once the architect makes the implementation plan with all the subtasks and everything, we deliver or make a transition to the senior developer. So the senior developer, without those two mood, do the or perform the subtasks each one, and after it finishes, it delivers like a transition to the code reviewer. Once the code reviewer do its work, it finishes by updating the memory bank files. We have a dedicated mode now that does what the integration engineer in here makes sure that our documentation and everything is up to date with the latest changes based on the subtask or the tasks that the workflow has made. So in summary, I have spent quite some time building this workflow between those different modes, and I created comprehensive set of rules for each one of them. But after I defined this workflow and make sure that each step is going very well, because I was monitoring each step, and tried it for quite some time. I think two months, like 40 hours a week. So it turns out that if you try to build like a comprehensive system and you have different modes work together, it started to fall apart, because if one rule forget to do a certain step, the other rules that depend on this critical step will not do its job correctly. So long story short, I found that the main issue could be with loading. Think of it like if you are providing a manual for a 50-page manual for an AI agent, and he should follow each one of them. Of course, he will miss some steps here and there. But if you converted this workflow into smaller steps, and each step has its own guidance embedded on it, and you are just telling the AI agent to follow those steps, so it starts to get fresh context each time it calls the MCP server and it gets back the response. So this what shifted me now from having this rules system into database driven MCP rules guidance. That's a big name. So yeah, enough talking about it. I just tried to give you like a context from where I am coming so far, and excuse me for it. I couldn't give you a full context of how those agents work together, but eventually we will see all of that together in the live example. Back to the README to see how we will install the MCP server and start like trying it out with one or two tasks. So I will show you guys how you can install it in a new project. And once you have it set up, you can start immediately, like talking to it and start, like if you have a task in mind or you want to implement something. I'm here in the quick start guide. I will use NBX, but I would recommend you to use Docker actually for better security. An important part about our MCP server. It's totally local. It doesn't have like a server you reach to, or it doesn't have any external API. So all of your code and all of your tasks and everything that happen on the project through our MCP server still lives in your project folder. And it is recommended also that you install the MCP server per project so that each project will contain its own data separately from other projects. And also we support now like Copilot and KiloCode, as you see here, Cursor, Copilot, RooCode, and KiloCode. So it is the same for all of them. You can actually start a task on Cursor, for example, and complete it on RooCode and vice versa. So yeah, let's open a new project I have. As you can see here, I don't have MCP server installed or anything. So let's open RooCode. I will work with RooCode, but the same applies to any other agent. Actually, you won't need to install or do anything. Once you add the MCP server, all the setup will go through the agent communicating with the MCP server. So let's just install it as we said before in the project level. Once you have it running like so, you have to be in a mode that allow to edit files or create files. Second step is like we have inside our MCP server a tool which responsible of setting up the base custom modes with a blueprint or a small rules file that describe how the agent will interact with the MCP server and all of this. So let's initialize it for RooCode, and the same goes for all of the other agents. It will create for us a custom mode and set up everything. So as you see here, it created the true code and added this rules, and also created the .true mode and added the custom mode. Now we can just reload the window, and we should see the mode down here. Here it is. Now you can interact with it very easily. I can see in this project, I don't have any memory bank files or anything. So let's maybe ask it to create one for us. I think it's a fairly simple task, but it will like show us how to interact with it. But as you can see, guys, it's so simple. You don't have to do anything. Actually, while we are there, let's do the same for Copilot. Funny enough, you can do so from RooCode to initialize the other two agents, but to make it like specific to each agent, we will go here to into Copilot. Let's make sure that we install the MCP server as well. Here we want it to be on this workspace only, available in this workspace only. So it added mcp.json. Now let's copy over our configuration. Now it's running. So let's do the same. For Copilot. It generated a new chat mode for Copilot. Now let's do the same and reload the page. Now you can see a new agent here. Sorry, a new custom mode here. Same thing applies for cursor, but for cursor, we only add a rule file because there is no easier way or dynamic way for generating custom mode in cursor. As far as I know, you have to do it manually. So that I made it there to be working directly with the agent, but have set of rules that guide the agent workflow. So now let's head back to RooCode and start a new task. Just let's make sure it's correct and working, and we are on it. I am asking it to generate a memory bank files for this project. The first thing it does is it try to see if there is an active execution already there, but we just installed it, so it will not find anything. As you can see here, the response is empty. So it will initiate a new one. So now no active workflow found. I will bootstrap a new workflow to generate the memory bank files for the Prismacraft project. So now it's bootstrapped a new workflow, and as you can see, the current rule is Boomerang, and the first step is to initialize the Git. As you remember, I told you we are following trunk-based development and agile, and we have to have a main branch and all of that setup. And we have the execution, and it didn't create a task yet, so there is no task. Now it's trying to get the current step guidance for the current rule. Here it will get the actual steps, and if it has any quality checks and step by step. So now it's trying to initialize the Git. I think it will see that we don't have any Git repository, so it should advise us to create one. Of course, it will, based on the trunk-based development, you have to do like a branch of the main branch to create your work. It's verifying its first step. So after it generated the branch, it makes sure that the branch exists and it gets its name. Now it's making the necessary memory bank and code base analysis step. So it's looking about what we have inside the project and everything. As you can see, also it's mentioning the step number and everything. So the first step is done. Let's recap it quickly. So it make get repository, makes a feature branch, it analyzes memory bank files, but we already don't have any memory bank files. So it started to look through the project strategic analysis. Based on my comprehensive analysis as a Boomerang rule, I have identified the complete technical architecture and business context needed to generate the memory bank files. And it started to list out the business context extracted and technical architecture discovered, um, which all is correct, by the way. But with the database is not Postgres. But I didn't define any database here, so I think Prisma is defining it. Yeah, that's the default, so it's correct. No worries. So now it's like making a step completion report to make sure that files and quality assurance and what is the next step. It's getting, after it finishes the first step, it's trying to get the step guidance for the second step. It's about creating the task with the analysis that it just created. And here also we have if you can see here, we have a schema definition, and you will see a big object. All of this because we have like a small task management system embedded into this workflow guidance. So to reduce the number of MCP tools, because if I added the task management as MCP tools as well, it will go from 16 to nearly 30 or something like that, which is not advised for AI agent because it makes the context so big and all of this. So I came to a small hack, if you're gonna say, to like have a middleware between the agent and all of our task management services. Actually, I will generate a report after we finish creating the task. I will ask it to create a report for us to see all of those fields I am adding. So yeah, now it's trying to call this execute MCP operation. Actually, after I finish this quick demo, I will show you the code for the execution, the MCP execution. It will make more sense what I mean by having a middleware between the AI agent and our task management database. So now it's trying to make a new task with the code base analysis and task description. The report we will generate will show all of these details much better than this JSON schema. But for the AI agent, is a JSON schema and XML schema is much better, grasp it much better. So yeah, after it generated the task, it makes a task status in progress. Okay. Now it finished and making the quality validation check. Now it's reporting a completion for this step. Yeah, this is an important step where it decide if the task we are creating will need a research or not. So if you have like fire crawler server, please add, will use it. You don't have to do anything, just add the MCP server, and if the task need a research, it will use this MCP server to do it. So it's reporting a step completion. And I think now the steps for the Boomerang is finished and it will transition to the architect. Actually, it will decide if it should transition to the architect or the researcher, but based on the step guidance as well. So it's getting the step guidance for the next. Now, executing the rule transition to architect. Okay. Now it's executing the transition. Actually, I think let's consider it fine for this thread. I will reject this now and cancel it. Just terminate. Now, after I stop this task, I will start a new one. Actually, I can ask it, even if I ask it to start a new task, it will do a check or get active execution to check if we have an execution running or not before continue, and it will ask us if we need to continue or start a new one. But for simplicity, I will ask it to continue and it will grasp it code. The good thing about it, it will return the current rule for the step and all the details needed. If you compare what just happened with what you will get with like RooCode without this, actually you will have to remember where the task was, and you will have to select it from down here, select the correct rule for it, and do some manual step. But with our MCP server, it does this automatically because it saves everything in our our database. And as you told you guys, the database already exists in your project. So do whatever you want. There is no like code analysis or anything, any link to any external library. So everything locally in your project. So it tried to continue. It knows that now it's in architect rule, and the first step for the architect is to create the implementation plan. Another thing, because we started a new window, it doesn't see or it doesn't know about the task. So it's trying, as you can see here, I have received the step guidance. I need to follow the specific step-by-step approach. Check if a task context is already available in current execution history. If the context is available, analyze and validate. Only if the context is missing or incomplete, execute the task operation to get the task. So it's now trying to create or make the task operation to get the details about the task. Now it returned all the information about the task. It tried to get the implementation plan because like there is an advanced edge case for this workflow, but I won't mention it now. But basically it is safer to check if we have an existing implementation plan or not before creating a new one. So it's just checking if we have one, and of course we don't have one. So it's trying to create a new one. And don't worry, guys, we have a report system. It's not fully implemented in or automated. It's not fully automated with moods yet, but in future, the mood, for example, once the Boomerang finishes the task creation, it will generate a report for us automatically for all the task details. And same for the architect. Once it makes the implementation plan and the subtask, will generate the report for us. So we can see, like in a human readable way, what is going on, rather having to look through all of those JSON files. Finishes creating his implementation plan and subtasks. Now it's making PIB completion. And I think the next task ready for senior developer. Yeah, so the next step would be transitioning to senior developer. But before this, I will ask it to generate those two reports. Okay. So trying to generate the task details report. You will find it in workflow reports, task details, open on default browser. Also, let's see the implementation plan. Same thing. But let's look at the reports. So this is the task details report. You can see that it's current mood for it, the senior developer, because the architect is finished. And here is the description, generate comprehensive memory bank documentation and the business requirement, create standard documentation, will technical requirements, and the acceptance criteria. And also it makes a code-based analysis, architecture and the technology. Code-based analysis is a very important step because it lists out, like, as you can see, our bigger picture of the project. Not the project, actually, it makes a code-based analysis based on the task. So because this is specific task is related to the whole project, it's making like an architecture overview of the code base we have. And implementation context, integration points, will quality assessments, file analyzed, and the implementation plans. I didn't know that the task details also have the implementation plan in it with the subtasks. Okay. So how we generated the implementation plan then? Is it different? Technical. Oh yeah, this one has a technical decision, implementation plan overview, technical decision, will strategic guidance, will implementation subtask with details. Wow. I thought this is an easier task, but that's good. So you guys, you can see the three subtasks we have for the senior developer. So now, as you can see, it's not nothing started and everything is not updated. Once we have the senior developer finishing the tasks and all of this, we can ask it to generate another reports, and those are just HTML files, so you can delete and generate new ones. It's all fine. Now to get back to it, I think it's hold it for quite some time. It's saying that the task, yeah, the dashboard generated as well. Yeah, we have one task. Okay. Generate memory burn files. Boomerang to architect. I think most of those is like hard coded parts because dashboard or the interactive dashboard I didn't like it, so but I didn't remove it. That's fine also. Okay. So anyway, let's continue now. It should get the next step guidance, which I think transitioning. Yeah, transition from the architect to the senior developer. The transition is done. We can also stop the execution, start in a new window, shut window, continue if you like. As you can see, if it's up to you. But I like to make each task execution not exceeding like, especially if I am using like the Copilot API from RooCode. So most of the agent doesn't have a big context window. So I'm trying to make it a smaller execution. So we can stop and continue on another window. That's what I'm saying. Now it transitioned to the senior developer and start executing the actual tasks. It's getting the workflow guidance. So if you are like observing what's going on currently, when transitioning from a rule to another rule, we make a call to get a workflow guidance that returns the rule persona alongside the current step and what it should have. And for each rule, we have call to get a step guidance, which is specific to each step, but doesn't have the full persona because we already sent the full persona in the workflow guidance. So let me show you what I'm talking about. You see here, like it returns the current rule, the capabilities of this rule, the core responsibilities and key capabilities, all the stuff. Once we have that, you will find it perfect. I have successfully transitioned to senior developer role and received the role guidance. Now I am fully embodying, I hope I'm saying it correctly, the senior developer identity with the implementation capability. Will core responsibility, all of this. Next, it will get the step guidance. That's one thing why I don't like to exceed 500,000 token input, especially with, be sure guys, this only happens because I am using the Copilot LM API. But from what I can see here, it's trying to get a step guidance, so it didn't find any step. Then it tried to get a step, available step, couldn't get one. So I'm thinking it tried to correct itself and get an execution operation. So to get the full object and start understanding where it stands. If this happen with the old system or old rule system, it won't be able to recover itself. But now can easily do so. Now we should have the current step correctly, which should be getting the task information and the implementation plan to get the first subtask and start executing it. So reporting is the first step. The first step for the senior developer is to make sure it understands the task correctly and the implementation plan correctly so that it doesn't like make up tasks and fix it. Actually, I faced this a lot when I was making the workflow at the start. Now we'll go into implementing each subtask one by one. It's trying to get the first subtask. Let's finish the first subtask and start the second two tasks or the other two tasks, sorry, in a new chat window. And one note, I am only doing so because I am using the Copilot LM API. After it finishes each subtask, it makes a commit for this subtask. This is one of the issues I always face with the old system or old rule system, where it actually makes a subtask, but it didn't update its status. So when I try to start a new task, it always says that there is a task without a commit, or it forget about the commit correctly. You know, like with this new setup, it doesn't forget any step. Actually, guys, you can see how it goes now, but let's complete the whole thing. Let's continue on a new end. If I am in the old system, it will not know that I am inside the senior developer rule and inside the second subtask. But with this system, it will make sure it knows. You see, knows that or detected that we have a working or in progress subtasks. So it's asking me what I need to do. Should I continue, start a new workflow, get help? Quick help is like if you want to do something quickly without having to go through our workflow. View dashboard, it will show the dashboard, the report dashboard, the dashboard report. Now it's getting the workflow guidance for the senior developer to understand where we are at and how to move forward. It's getting the next subtask with the second subtask, updating the project overview, updating the status for it, and it will start working on it. Our mission is to eliminate the complexity of MCP server development by providing an intelligent assistant that guides developer from business requirement to fully functional production-ready MCP server. This is the next open source project, guys. For whoever wanted to continue working on it or participate on it, contribution is open. Actually, I think the project is auto-generated from, like, I was working on the Anubis MCP server, and once I made the deployment to Docker and NVM, I saw that this could be like a template or a blueprint where any user who wanted to create an MCP server that is connected to Prisma and published to Docker and NPM, all of this, we can have an MCP server that help people generate a fully functional MCP server from this MCP server. Now it finishes the second documental project overview. It making the git commit that will continue with the last subtask we have. Actually, there is something went wrong. It shouldn't finish the step. I didn't. Oh wow! I didn't notice this. Finished the step where we still have one subtask. This shouldn't be happening. Let's see how it will correct itself. Protocol violation acknowledged. You are absolutely correct. I violated the workflow protocol by reverting step completion. Prematurely, I was still in implemented subtask step and should have completed the current subtask. It checked for additional subtasks. Only report step completion when all subtasks were finished. I like it when it's acknowledging its fault and have a way to, like, let's say, recorrect itself. Now it will get the next subtask shouldn't be the project overview. This one is done. It should be the third one. Completed. Okay. Yeah. So the second subtask, this one is completed. So it marking it as complete to make sure it could get the last and the third and the last subtask. Anyway, to recap what we have so far, guys. So we have finished all the subtasks. Let's now ask the senior developer to make the implementation plan report again to check the progress we have done. So generating the report. Which one? 6 for this one. Okay, so the task is in progress. One batch, 3 subtasks. It's finished all. Complexity score 55. Okay, architectural pattern and yeah, so this one is finished. The batch progress, yeah, this one completed, completed, 3. It's making the task details as well. No worries. That's enough. So trying to get the next subtask, it should have no illegible subtasks, which means that we are finished with this step now and it should continue back what I think transition to the code review now. The code review is intelligent partner we have that decide if this task need actually to be tested or not, and what is the correct way for us to approach its testing. Let's see what it will do and what it will say. Validation completes, senior developer rule, okay, validation all acceptance criteria. Okay, so I think the senior developer is making sure before it delegate to the code review that it finishes all of its work correctly. Wow. I left this task for quite long. I should have like started in a new chat session much earlier than now. What happened? Think I need to refresh. I maybe broke it when I installed or ran the installment. I think something happened, but that's fine. We have our state management and everything should be ready to go. Okay, I can think. Wow, this should be added to get ignored. Anyway, let's continue. Uh, yeah, let's see the last two moods and we can call it a day for this video, and I hope I will make some progress or some other fixes regarding. Actually, I didn't tell you what next for this project. So basically, we will eliminate, or I was thinking to eliminate the memory bank files and add some tables inside our database, our local database, to contain information about the project. I was planning also to make it like embedded with vector database so that the search or the AI agent can easily search those parts and can connect each task it works with memory bank files without reading the whole document. It will be embedded into our database and vectorized so it can work with it. Okay, it's detecting the workflow. Will ask me the same questions. Continue. Actually, I should tell it that we already have done this step. He doesn't believe me. He has to make sure of it himself. Now it's reporting step completion and it will transition to the code review, which hopefully will not do much because this was a documentation update. It should figure it out itself and it should finish up the workflow. Now it's getting the workflow, the code review guidance. Now it will act new rule identity activated as a code review, will core responsibility and everything again. Now it's trying to make a step completion. Why is that? I am now fully embodying the code review rule and will proceed according to its behavioral framework. All check passed get rule transition correct. Okay. Revert. Okay. Workflow execution complete. Final code review and quality validation summary. Okay, so this is the report for the code review, technical architecture, documentation, final assessment, approved for production, workflow status completed. Okay, so they completed everything.